All right. Just wanted to check in with everybody on the life jacket intervention that we were posting about on Sunday. We did the video on Sunday. The young lady, the young mother that we sent down to treatment in Florida. The last video I did, I was all excited sitting on the dock back at my little river spot. And was all excited about her being on the plane headed to treatment. Was in really good hands with my colleague, Charmaine. They did make it to Florida, and we were hoping that she was going to be admitted on Monday. So that means that the transport had to sit with her Sunday night in a hotel, which was fine. She was angry. It was like sitting on a rattlesnake. But what kept her there, I mean, look, this girl had her own money too. It wasn't like she was destitute or, that mama took her phone and credit cards and wallet and all that. I mean, this girl was making a living, had a good career, and had her own money, and she could have bolted at any time. I mean, she could have said to hell with y'all and left. But what kept her planted, what kept her in that hotel and willing to continue forward was the boundaries that the family set, and they were some tough boundaries. I mean, there was going to be some. Oh, and the family and the employer. The employer stated that you will not return to work for us until you have completed a treatment program. This treatment program, and she was very serious about that. And like I told y'all earlier, we hadn't lost one yet where the employer was involved, and it's very important. If we can get that component there with an intervention, we have some good success. And also, we can't. I'm not making light of the family either, and the work and the boundaries that they did, and the friends. The family, I'm not going to go into what their boundary was, but it was going to be some very serious consequences related to her ability to be a mother and in that child's life if she did not enter treatment. And that's for the safety of the child and for her as well. And they meant it. They meant it. That's what was going to happen. And they weren't doing it to like point fingers at her or hold a thumb on her. They were saying, we will not tolerate this or allow this to go on under our nose, and we're going to take the actions that we feel necessary to protect the rest of the family and to motivate you for treatment. So she stayed there in the hotel, and we were hoping we were going to get her admitted on Monday. But there was some when we're in active addiction, we don't always make our follow-up appointments to doctors unless there's some pain pills involved. And she had a follow-up appointment with a doctor for cardiac arrest she was in, and the cardiac vest she was wearing, and she didn't make it. So there was a little snag there on Monday we had to have doctor's orders and all clear from the docs, from doc to doc, the doc at the treatment center and the doc in her hometown that had been working with her. And she had to have a test run before the treatment center would take her, and that's a good move on the treatment center. But so we had to end up sitting on her for till Tuesday. She got admitted Tuesday afternoon, and what had happened was Charmaine had other obligations, so she had to get on a plane Tuesday and head back. But thank God we know people all around the country who've got good connections and good relationships, where we had a sober companion out of Florida, and a great company called Sober Escorts. I know that word, and some people can take a different meaning of that word, but it's not what you think. Get your mind out of the gutter. Sober Escorts, Sober Companion are people that they're in recovery mostly, and they are companions and sober companions, and make sure that people get from point A to point B safely. That stuff is out here, and thank God they were able to get on the ball here. They did a great job of carrying a torch and getting her admitted into treatment. So she's safely admitted, and it's a good program when you get updates from the clinical team of every step of the way, and they've been very good at doing that. The intervention letters went down. We always do that. When an intervention is over and they're going to treatment, we gather the letters that the family wrote, and it's not. Those letters are not just to get them moving into treatment. It is to remind them that is what's going to happen from here on out. If you choose not to engage in recovery, that's on you. I mean, that's, you're a grown individual. Most of the interventions we do are on 18 and above, are all adults. And you can choose not to go or choose to leave treatment, or but the letters that the families write during the intervention are from here on out. Those boundaries mean that from this day forward, we are not going to live this way. We're not going to enable your illness. We're going to work on our own recovery. We're going to work on getting the family back together. And it's something that comes to mind is that a lot of, most people, I think, are in fear that an intervention will pull the family apart. And that just doesn't happen. That's not our job, is to come in and tear a family apart. Addiction's doing a fabulous job of that. Our job is to bring the family together. And that's what interventions do, is it takes a dysfunctional, fear-driven, tortured family and brings them together again. And it's a beautiful sight when you see that happen and you get to witness that take place. So the intervention letters that the family and the friends and the employer wrote, we gather those up and we take them to treatment with her, and they're given to her primary counselor. That is the therapist at the treatment center that is going to be her primary contact and primary therapist that she's going to work with. So what normally happens in a treatment episode with, a lot of us, is that unless we're just, clawing at the door to get in and get well, is there's two things that we have inside of us as addicted individuals. One is we've got, I like to call it a rabbit. If you've ever seen a rabbit in the yard or in the woods and you jump that rabbit or walk up on it and that thing bolts and goes and runs, So we've got a rabbit inside of us that when we get uncomfortable, first thing we want to do is run. We don't have our normal solution, which is drugs and alcohol. And they're starting to talk about things in treatment that we're not comfortable with, and we're getting uncomfortable. And the first thing we want to bolt, right? And the next thing we have inside of us is this little attorney. And I'm sure if you've got family or friends or have loved ones that are suffering from drug addiction, alcoholism, you've seen that little attorney. And if you could look inside of us and see our little attorney, it would rival any attorney you see on Law and Order or The Sopranos. I mean, if you could look inside here, this boy got an old attorney sitting there, got paralegals running all around, got phone in each hand, a big old cigar. And that little attorney is constantly building a case about why we don't need to be in treatment, about how it's mama's fault, about how it's daddy's fault, about how it's my husband's fault, my wife's fault, my grandma's fault. And if the damn president wouldn't have done this, be his fault, or it wouldn't be his fault. And we can find blame in everybody. It's just how addiction affects us, how our addiction works, So we've got the rabbit to deal with and the little attorney inside of us. So when that starts to raise its head, which it will, it typically does, and a lot of times if the family don't know, they're not aware of what's kind of coming down the road, and we prep the family what to expect once they get to treatment, is they'll make up any excuse. The addicted individual make up any excuse as to why they have to leave treatment. Sometimes the family will buy that stuff out of their own fear. So we take those intervention letters and they go with the individual given to the primary counselor. So when that rabbit starts to rear its head, or that attorney starts to plead its case and build a case, and is getting ready to present its case as to why we need to leave treatment early and don't need to be there, and we really don't have a problem, that primary therapist, a good one, is going to bring those letters out in small group, or they're going to bring them out individually, and they're going to read them to her and reinforce those boundaries and remind them of exactly where the family stays or stands in their boundaries with dealing with this addiction. And about 9 times out of 10, we can avoid a AMA, which that means against medical advice, leaving against medical advice, or ASA, leaving against staff advice, and they'll kind of settle on down, and that kind of removes their options to do anything else except kind of embrace sobriety. They don't like it, they get mad, but that's all right. Remember what I said, we are all right with them getting angry, and the family needs to be all right with them getting angry too. They're all right with you getting angry, so you need to be all right with them being angry. So, and the ones that are really determined to leave, after the letters are read and the family's on the phone and saying, you know, we're not going to fly you home. We're not going to send you any money. We're not going to put you in a hotel. We're not going to turn your phone on. We're just not going to deal with that. We're not going to be a part of that. We're not going to enable you to leave. They'll see the door. You know, they'll go out and they'll stand around and they'll see that no one's coming to rescue them. That the old main enabler and the rescuer in the family is not coming. Their old ace in the hole that they have, an old family member or friend that every time in the past has been there to bail them out or give them a few bucks or give them a ride or this, that, or the other, or lend an ear of listening to their stories. And they realize that they are not doing that. They'll turn around and go back to treatment. It may take a couple days, and that's a scary time for the family. But like I said, the only people that we have lost, like lives lost, has been where the family takes their loved one back prematurely and goes back to old behaviors. So thank you guys for listening. Like I said, we're on YouTube, and like us, click us, share us, subscribe to us. Let's get the word out. Everybody is, you know, a lot of interventions that I do, families don't realize that there's people out here like us that do this type of work. And that surprises me because there's a TV show on about it, and you know, you hear the word intervention a lot, and we're out here. And we're nationwide. We travel nationwide, and we take the tough cases. And if you got a loved one that you don't think will get help, and not willing to get help, unable to get help on their own, and you're at your wit's end and don't know which way to turn, give us a call. We'll get it done. Thank you.